I know you've been seeing a lot of this shirt lately because I did 3 intros in one day, but listen, Grace bought me this, and whenever I saw it, I said, oh my God, I look like a sexy Hulk. Hey, what's up? Hello, it's Katie Colson here. Welcome to, or welcome back to my channel, and we're here to do my absolute favorite content to watch on YouTube, and that's unhauling books. It's so cathartic. Like I'm obsessed with it. I was about to say I'm almost obsessed, but I really am obsessed with decluttering. Like I get rid of shit all the time. There's always a box or a bin or a bag that's full of stuff to go to Goodwill. And I'm constantly looking over my shelves going, do I love you enough? Do I love you enough? Do you need to stay in my life? And I do have a lot of books, but like if I kept all the books I read, can't even imagine how many books I would have. So we're going to be getting into a very hefty unhaul. Like it's got to be upwards of 50 books. There is a lot here. But before we do that, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is so prompt because this sponsor is like so apt for this video, and it's Penguin Books. I know I've talked about Penguin Books before, as well as so much of the book community talks about them, and I see so many people actively using this app. So this is an app for book lovers to buy books at a very, very reduced price. And not only that, to find books that maybe are not available anymore or that are hard to come by, like special editions, and you can find them for a really amazing price. But then not only than that, it also helps book lovers to clear their shelves by doing exactly what I'm doing here today, which is unhauling. So what you would do, it's so freaking easy. Like, it's so easy. All you do is take a picture of the book, you scan the barcode, boom, boom. It's on your freaking app. It's there to sell. And then when somebody buys it, Penguin Books sends you a prepaid USPS shipping label. You don't have to stand in line at the post office. Like, I'm faint. Like, that's stunning. Literally, have you ever waited in line at a post office? It's horrible. Okay, horrible. Also, have you ever gone to a Barnes & Noble and they don't have the book you want in stock? Terrible. You can also follow other book lovers. So if you go on someone's site on their little marketplace for Penguin Books and you see that they're selling books that you really enjoy, you can follow them because there is a greater likelihood that the books that they're reading and then unhauling are going to be books that you would also want to be reading. So that's very exciting as well. It is kind of a little community, and it's also like you're running your own like book shop from your phone. So that's amazing. And thank you so much to Penguin Books for sponsoring this video, and let's get to the unhaul. All right, I'm gonna start with this stack of books. This stack being the ones that I don't really know what they're about anymore, and I don't really care to look it up. Like that's what let me know when I was going through my books. I was like, if I don't even care to research this book to see if I wanna read it, I clearly don't wanna read it. The first of which being We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia. I know this is a duology, and that's pretty much all I know about it, and I don't care anymore because I never see anybody talk about it, so clearly it wasn't that great to begin with. And then I have Water Runs Red by Jenna Claire. This is a book of poems. This was sent to me, but I don't read poetry. I'm not a poetry person, so I'm not gonna read it. I'm sure it's great, just not for me. And then I have Bad Habits by Flynn Meaney. I love this cover, and I do feel like at a certain point in my life, this would have been something I really liked, but I just don't really want to read like contemporary, like I'm not a big contemporary person. And if I was to consume this, it would have to be on audio because I just don't see myself sitting through this entire book, reading it physically. And also I've never heard a single person talk about this book in my life. So it's gonna go. And then I don't know what this book is about, but I know that I was anticipating this for a long time, and it's The Dead in the Dark by Courtney Gold. I don't remember why this was on my anticipated release. It's like, I don't remember what this book is about. And that's probably a good enough reason. I'm just gonna let it go. And then I have Some Girls Do by Jennifer Duggan. This is a really pretty cover, and this is a YA sapphic contemporary romance, but you only said one word I care about, which is sapphic, and the other 3 words, YA contemporary romance, no, absolutely not. Okay. And then these are 3 book of the month books that I was sent recently, and I just do not see myself picking these up. Now, I will do this a lot with book of the month's books, is I will just like immediately unhaul some that I don't think I'm gonna read, and then later end up picking them up or repurchasing them and buying them. But like, you know what? This is my decluttering dissociation. So I have A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This book is freaking huge. If I'm going to read this, it's going to be on audio, and I don't see myself picking it up, so we'll see. And then I have Don't Cry For Me by Daniel Black. Is this a memoir? If this is a memoir, I'm absolutely never reading it. I don't know. Why am I even trying? I'm not going to read it. Anyway, A Peach Blossom Spring by Melissa Fu. Nothing about it is calling out to me. I just don't care. And then, if you can believe it, this is going to be the last stack of books that I have not read. So to start us out, I have Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. I love this cover. And at one point I was excited to read this, but now it's a YA contemporary romance. And like, do I need to say it again? Like, I'm not going to read it. Okay. This one I tried to read. It's Embodied, an intersectional feminist comics poetry anthology. That's a mouthful. This whole book is a mouthful. I didn't understand what the fuck they were talking about. Like, I'm not a poetry girly. I'm not. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And I didn't vibe with this. So I DNF'd it forever. This has been on my shelf for so long. Oh my God. I've got to set these down because this thing is so freaking heavy. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is beautiful. Do you see this? Like, it's stunning. Oh my God. Well, there's stuff in there. It's beautiful, but listen, it's a trilogy and the third book still hasn't come out yet and it's been like 10 years or something. And I just don't have the wherewithal, the brain power, this mental strength to put up with another Game of Thrones. Like, I just don't think I can do it. And this book is so freaking big for there not to be an ending. Like, I'm gonna read this entire book, 2 of them, for no ending. I don't think so. Miss me with that. Can't do it, won't do it. The next are all going to be Book of the Month books that I had every intention of reading. They've been on my TBR. And then because of reviews from people I trust in the book community, I am going to be getting rid of them. The first is from Goodreads, and that is The Perishing by Natasha Dion. So I was very excited about this. I know Gabby and I both were wanting to read this book at one point, but then I went and looked at the Goodreads reviews and they're legit like 2.4 stars. I've never seen a rating that low. What? Yeah, no, miss me with that. Not gonna do it. And then I have The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. Now, I saw Erin from Booked and Busy talk about this, and also Allie, the Hardback Hoarder, and they both were like, this book sucked. It was terrible. And I'm like, say less. Literally, only one of you needed to say it was just okay, and I would DNF it. Speaking of which, I have A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. So this is a book I was also very interested in because the summary like sounded like something I would enjoy. But then Olivia, I was watching her sprints and she was reading this and she was like, this is not good. This book is not good. This is, no. And then at the very end of the book, she was like, I take back my words. I eat my words. It's so good. I love it. And I had gone and put it in my unhaul pile. And when she said that, I put it back on my TBR. And then I saw her video that came out a couple days later talking about this book. And she was like, oh my God, I loved it. But Katie, if you're watching this, don't read it. You'll hate it. And I paused the video, I went, took it off my shelf, put it right back in the unhaul. I was like, Olivia, say less. All right, we're here for the nitty gritty, the books I have read. We're gonna start off with a whopping 1 star, and that's The Night Olivia Fell by Christina McDonald. This is one of those books that you pick up at a grocery store and then you look back when you realize the book's bad and you're like, yeah, I should have known that. I picked it up at a grocery store. It's bad. Just point blank. This book is really bad. Like, how many breaths can a girl not realize she's holding? Like, it's that kind of book. Do you know what I'm saying? This book has not been featured in one of my wrap-ups yet because it's coming in February's wrap-up, but it is The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa. I did not vibe with this book. I did not vibe with this. Everybody freaking loves this. They cry reading it. Erin wanted me to read it so freaking bad. I physically read it and she said that was the mistake. I should listen to the audio, and I still am planning on giving it a second shot later down the line. But I found this just like boring. I just found it boring. Like, it was slow. I'm like, how is this book this small and like it's so slow? And it's like a slice of life, and I really don't like that. Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. Now, this was actually a DNF. This is really chunky to be a romance. Like, why are romances so long? I don't understand. This is just not good. It's like, oh, it's so cheeky and ridiculous. It's so immature. Like, one of the characters is supposed to be like anal, but then he's like not anal enough to be called that. And the other character is supposed to be like a bad boy, but then he's like not a bad enough boy to be considered a bad boy. So really you just have 2 annoying people who should not fall in love with each other. It's bad. Wolf by Ryan Groudon. I really liked this book. I really liked it. But I'm like, I'm gonna listen to it on audio. Like, do I need to keep it? I really liked it. Oh no, I'm conflicted. I really like this book, and now I'm holding it and I want to keep it. But I'm never going to physically read it. Okay, I'm putting this to the side because this one I don't know. Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I love this cover, and this might just be because I'm not in a fantasy mood, but I read this and I was just bored. I remember barely anything that happened in this, like barely anything, and this book is freaking huge. Like, even if it was because I'm not in a fantasy mood, I do not see myself revisiting this book to continue with the series. I'll just pick up something new, so I'm just gonna get it out of my house. A Touch of Darkness by Emily, why do I always say Emily St. Clair? Who is Emily St. Clair? That's gotta be like a person that I'm thinking of. This person is Scarlett St. Clair. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling, but is it? No, they just take the names and literally nothing else is Greek mythology, like literally at all. This book had me. It really had me in the first half. And then I realized that things were just slow and barely progressing, and it was just like sex scene after sex scene after sex scene without any discernible plot. Like, at least I liked the plot in Neon Gods. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did not like that, and I don't like the way that Persephone is like portrayed. Like, I don't know. I don't like that whole like, I'm so sassy, but then also I'm a damsel. I'm like, I didn't like you. Devolution by Max Brooks. Riddle me this real quick, okay? I listened to the audiobook. Tell me how it's possible that a book this short, that's a full cast narration about hunting Bigfoot, is boring. What? How is that humanly possible? How is that possible? Like, there was potential in this book. Definitely had potential. Didn't fulfill any of it, but it had potential. And I wanted it to be good, but it wasn't. Okay, these two I'm gonna say I read because I DNF'd the first book, so I'm not gonna be continuing with the second book, and that is Ash Lords by Scott Rankin, I think. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. And then Bloodsworn. So this is the Ash Lords series. I tried to read Ash Lords, and his concept seems cool, and these covers are freaking wicked, but I tried to read it, and it was just so immature and so YA, and I did not care. Like, they're those kind of characters that just rub you the wrong way because they're immature and just kind of dumb. These next two books, I might possibly have mentioned in Unhaul in the past and forgot to unhaul it. If that's the case, I am truly sorry. But the first one is Furyborn by Claire Legrand. I actually had all three books and I had already unhauled the other ones, and I don't know why this is still here, but I didn't like it. There was like different timelines and they were very hard to like not only keep track of, but to give a shit about. And I know for a fact I'm never gonna try to reread it in the future. And the other one is In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This is so beloved in the book community, and I like don't understand why. Like, I didn't like it. This is one of those things where it's like, literally it's a murder mystery, and it's like this guy just constantly pointing the finger at everyone and going, you did it, no, you did it. And I'm like, do you have any evidence? Like, why are you just pointing and screaming? Can you give me something? Give me like a tidbit, give me a fact. Oh, you don't have any? Then sit down. Speak, a graphic novel, which is written by Laurie Halse Anderson and is illustrated by Emily Carroll. I love Emily Carroll's illustrations, but this book was boring. Like, the whole what's happening in the book, I get it, that's poignant, but the book is just so, it just drones on and on and on, and the only saving grace is the illustrations, which are stunning, but I was just like bored, and I did not expect to be bored. Speaking of boring, Dancing at the Pity Party, a Dead Mom graphic novel by Tyler Fetter. I DNF'd this while I was live streaming, and there was a couple of people on my Patreon that were like, I did not like it, this is not good. And then a couple of people being like, I cried, but I didn't really like the book. And this is so boring. Like, there's literally so many pages, like so much writing on the page, but all of this is her just giving examples of things. It's not moving the plot along. Like, look at this, it's just yoga poses. What? The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This follows the same vein of every book that is written by this author duo. It's just fine. The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. Now, I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 4.5 star or maybe a 4 star, but I really enjoyed this. I definitely recommend it, but I think it's one of those thrillers where I was looking at my shelf and I was like, I'm not gonna reread this. Like, it didn't pack as much of a punch to like warrant a reread. So I'm like, even though I really love the cover and I really liked the story, I don't see myself reaching for it to talk about it in the future or to reread it, so I don't need it on my shelves. Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. I actually just read this a couple days ago, and I have a question, okay? Who gave who the right to call this and then there were none retelling? Who? I want to meet them personally and ask them if they even know who Agatha Christie is. This is not and then there were none retelling. It's not. And if you want to say it is, it's only in like the last 20 pages, and the last 20 pages, like, you spend so long building up and up to be like, what is this mystery? Oh my God, what is this? And then the plot twists are so boring. Like, okay, here's an example. You spend so much of this book with these two characters who are rich, and people are like, oh my God, why are they rich? They're like, how can they afford this? Do you know what you find out? They sell drugs. Big whoop. Like, Rachel Hawkins, you need to get into this decade. A History of Wild Places by Shea Earnshaw. I thought this was okay, but the thing that I really liked about it was the talk of like the cult and the rot, which is like the plague in this book, which is why they can't leave the town. That I found really interesting, but that's not the focus of this book. It's on this freaking author that writes like children's stories. And there's like, the children's stories are like kind of in this too. And her going missing and this cop looking for her. And I did not give a shit about that. I wanted this plague infested cult to be the main part of the story, and it wasn't. And I was disappointed by that. Okay, before you're like, oh my God, Katie didn't like that book. No, stop. I loved this book. Also, I'm obsessed with the cover. The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. I really enjoy this. It's very short. The audiobook is really good. I gave this 4.5 stars. It's fantastic. I just don't see myself rereading it in the future, so I don't need to hold on to it, but it is like kind of a retelling of like Frankenstein if you got the point of view of the girl, Elizabeth. So, and then if she wasn't just like a sideline character to be a pawn in Victor and like Frankenstein's games, if Frankenstein and Adam's game, it's like her taking control of her own fate, and it is so good. And I'm talking myself out of getting rid of it. God damn it. And the award goes to the best cover and to the heftiest book on my shelf, The Prior of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Honestly, I feel like all my other books and my shelves are like breathing a sigh of relief because I have hefted it off and now they don't have to have it on their shoulders, you know. This book was such a disappointment. I wanted to love this. It has lesbians. It has dragons. But does it? Like barely. Literally barely. There are barely any sapphic scenes. Hello? There's barely any dragon scenes. What's the point then? It's so slow. It's so freaking slow. And there's so much added in, like folklore of this culture that doesn't equate to anything. Like it does not add up to anything. It doesn't get you any farther in the plot. It's just to make you feel immersed in the atmosphere. And if that's what you want, if you want a slow build like fantasy, then sure, but not for me. Before anybody freaks out, it's because I already have other copies, and that is The Dragon Republic and The Burning God, both by R.F. Kuang. Now, I don't know what happened on Amazon, but these were sent to me without notes, without receipts, and I already owned the books. So not only do I have no idea who it is that sent it to me, but I don't even know if someone did send it to me. Like, they just showed up unsolicited with no name and no receipt. And like, honestly, I'm scared. Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. If you've ever felt this book, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels different than any other book. It's stunning. It's beautiful. I enjoyed this, but I did not love it the way that I thought I would. It felt like too gratuitously, like, horrific, too gratuitously, like, action thriller. Oh my God, pedal to the metal, like, I know I'm saying that in full view of No Exit, but like this was different, you know? And then also like just the talk of like transphobia. I know that it was supposed to be like homophobia and transphobia. It was supposed to be like enlightening to these like Southern older guys that are homophobic and transphobic. I get that, but I don't think it was done necessarily as well as it should have been, because I just don't really want to read about people being this kind of ignorant, like aggressively ignorant. Like I don't want to. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I really enjoyed this. I'm very surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I do like a circus setting. This is very fun. I tried to continue with the series and ended up not really caring that much. And I thought I might keep this one as a standalone, but then I was like, no, like I liked it, but I'm not gonna like talk about this book ever again. Madam by Phoebe Nguyen. This has such mixed reviews, and I honestly don't know why, because I genuinely enjoyed it. Like, it's very dark academia. It's not an unreliable narrator, but it is a narrator that is very ignorant to the situation, and that frustrates people because she doesn't like bust down doors and be like, tell me what's going on. But I'm like, yeah, of course she doesn't. Like, she needs the job, and this place is sketch. She doesn't want to like get got, you know what I'm saying? I liked it. I thought that it was good. I gave it 4 stars, but again, I'm not gonna read it again. The Plot by John Hanf Korelitz. Huge flop, huge flop, huge flop. This book is boring. This book had so much potential, but instead, like, listen, I understand the main character is not supposed to be likable, but he pissed me off. I did not like him at all. I didn't like any of the characters, like literally any of the characters. And then like him and his wife or fiance or whatever, I was like, why is this in here? Is this here so that I'm supposed to think somebody loves you? Because it ain't me. Like, I didn't like it, and I think it's overhyped. No shade to these books, but The Gilded Wolves and The Silvered Serpents, both by Roshani Chachki. I love these covers. I read The Gilded Wolves and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and then I read The Silvered Serpents and I gave it 3 stars. I think it might be because I'm just not in my fantasy era. I'm just not in my series era right now necessarily. So that could be the case, but I didn't enjoy The Gilded Wolves enough to keep these on my shelves and try to reread them in the future. Like, I see their benefits, or like I see the pros of these books. I do think they're good, but they're just not that great in my opinion. I almost forgot to mention this one because I forgot that it was on the books that I had read this month, but I will be unhauling it after doing my wrap up, and that is Happiness by Shuzo Oshimi. Now, here's the thing. I enjoyed so much of this book. It's a manga. I enjoyed so much of this manga, but there was one glaring thing that I just could not get over, and it made me want to unhaul it. It made me not want to continue. So this is about a boy who is bitten by a vampire, and then he becomes a vampire. But the only time, and this happens all the time, but the only time that he is ever desiring blood is the blood between a woman's legs. He's literally, the smell between a woman's legs makes him go like freaking rabid, like feral. Okay, how is it that every single girl in this book is on their period? Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand, and it's really gross. So I'm not gonna keep it. Wow, that's already 50 books that I'm unhauling in one video. What? Like, are you kidding me? That's insane. That is wild. Like, my shelves are so freaking bare now. Like, I actually have room to freaking breathe, to put up decor, because you can't see this side of the shelf. I think that's a big problem for y'all. Y'all can't see this side, which is much more chaotic. This side almost seems sparse, I dare say. But those 50 books leaving this side of my world is gonna clear things up, okay? You know what also clears things up? Pango Books. Oh, hello, we're making a full circle moment. You should totally download it if you feel like it. You could use my code if you double feel like it. And do you know what I want you to do if you feel like it? I want you to follow me on Goodreads and Instagram, both of which are gonna be linked down below, as well as my Patreon. If you wanna join our Chaotic Coven, I would love to have you. And I want to thank all of you for watching this video. If you have gotten this far in, you could leave the girl that does this, that emoji, like, no, we're getting rid of these books, fam. You could leave that. And I want to say, have an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, whatever it is you're having right now. And I will see you in a video coming very soon. Bye.